There's a lot more to it, though, I felt, and I was kind of surprised by the direction this movie took. What did you think? Because we really haven't talked about it.
Yeah, that's actually the surprising thing, and I will tell people that right now. We've seen 3 movies. I mean 4 technically, counting Terribly Happy, since you've been here, and we really haven't said too much about our thoughts. I mean, I think we genuinely feel each other out and know how we kind of felt about it. But I don't know. And this is the one I was kind of. I don't know what Leland's thoughts are on this. We always do that after the movie. Key and lock.
Yeah.
I thought it was definitely good, and I think it's gonna have the problem. I don't think that it's going to be this year's the little indie movie that could, like the Little Miss Sunshine of the year or Juno or whatever like that, because I do think it's very accessible for the subject matter, but I think from hearing so many great things about it, I thought it was good, but I did not think that it was like fantastic. And I don't know if it's just the type of film that it is, but here's a lot of the things that I liked right from the bat. I think the performances across the board are exceptional. I think Annette Bening is my favorite in the entire film,
and talk about an actress I respect. I piss and moan about actresses and actors who get older, and they just make utter shit. Diane Keaton makes shit movie after shit movie, and I don't know why. I'm like, you're Diane Keaton. You were in the goddamn Godfather. You could live off that movie for the rest of your life. You don't need any more money. Annette Bening, I feel like we haven't seen her since American Beauty.
Right, she has. I haven't.
Yeah,
I
definitely
haven't. Done. I couldn't even tell you, but I think her performance, honestly, is probably Oscar worthy. I think there's a lot of very subtle scenes that take place between her character's development and growth. And I mean, right off the bat, if we're doing like archetypes, like Julianne Moore is the more the mother. She's kind of like the free-spirited woman of the film, and Annette Bening's kind of like the hard ass of the movie, who like wants things done the way she does. She drinks a lot of wine. She doesn't trust Mark Ruffalo right off the bat, and the changes that her character undergoes, as far as like being closed off and then kind of opening up and going back to being closed off, they all felt very real and believable to me. I never once was like, oh, well, this is just the path that the movie's taking.
It wasn't cheesy, because the connections she makes with Mark Ruffalo, it's like over Joni Mitchell. Yeah. And she's kind of buzzed and she like sings with him.
She's like singing the song.
It was so much more believable than them like having like a heart-to-heart talk. Right, her, like holding hands and looking into each other's eyes.
Right, and I do think, I mean, and I think Mark Ruffalo, as always, is fantastic. I think he's a pretty underrated guy. And I think Julianne Moore is really good in the movie. I think the performances are all really fine. I think the writing is also pretty sharp as far as the suburban American family, and I think that for a film about 2 lesbian parents raising 2 kids, one of my big fears, and I think I actually told you before we went and saw it, was that this film was going to be preachy about the gay lifestyle, and I honestly think that had you substituted these characters for just a male-female, it would have worked the same exact way.
That was what I was most impressed by with this movie. It could be any family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's specifically lesbians, because most married couples don't use sperm donors, but it could be anyone. It could really be any family.
And I honestly think that that's, I mean, because it never once gets preachy, it never once gets out of hand, like, well, you just don't get our lifestyle, like sort of a thing. And I think the only reason that stuff takes place is because that's an interesting concept, that you have 2 women married who each have a child from the same sperm. Like, I think that's just a very interesting concept. I don't think that there's anything about the film that I necessarily didn't like per se, but I think I just kind of felt like once the movie ended and it kind of wrapped up and went to credits, I was like, well, that was nice. Yeah. Like, it was just it's a nice little movie. I think it's funny. I think it's very funny, actually. There's a lot of parts that are very amusing. One taking place of Julianne Moore and Annette Bening both watching gay man porn together in bed, that I think is pretty hysterical. But I would recommend people check it out. I'm sure it's going to start to open wider.
Yeah, I mean, there's movie posters for it at my local mall.
Yeah, like I wouldn't necessarily say to rush out and see it. I did like it immensely. I think the performance, it's some of the best collective performances that I've seen by a group of actors of the year in a film, and I think the performances are really kind of the standout quality of the movie. I definitely thought it was good, but I did not think that it's, I saw some critics praising it as like one of the best of the year. Yeah. I would not call it one of the best of the year.
I think my expectations were lower than yours, because I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you did. I think it's just because I didn't necessarily think I was going to dig it. And I was impressed by how it avoided a lot of trappings like the stuff about gay marriage. The gay marriage in this movie speaks for itself. Like they're a supportive married couple. They have kids. Like the life they live in this movie
we get it.
Is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like they're not. They really do seem to have a handle on the entire family. And the thing I was kind of surprised about was, first of all, like Mark Ruffalo's character in this movie is kind of a dick.
He is.
He's a misogynist. He has intimacy issues. He just bangs a lot of chicks. And I was kind of like, I don't know if he's supposed to be a misogynist, but the way his story played out, it's almost as if he's not the focus of this story.
No,
it's the story of the two women kind of trying to reconnect with their kids.
Right.
And Mia Wasikowska, who was earlier this year Alice in Alice in Wonderland,
who I couldn't stand in that movie.
Who was kind of awful in that flick.
Right.
I thought she was very good here. The younger son, who I couldn't...
Josh Hutcherson.
What the fuck is this kid from? Bridge to American Splendor?
Really?
What do I know him from?
Bridge to Terabithia? Is that Terabithia?
Terabithia.
Terabithia. Did you ever see that one?
No.
I never saw that.
She dies at the end, by the way.
Cirque du Freak?
I think that's what I know. He's done a bunch of crap. I found him to be very good, and this movie is very subtle. I think that was what. There's no big moment at the end. There's kind of just these quiet little moments between characters. It is weird because it's one of the most critically acclaimed movies of the year. And I talk about you with this, like, Wendy and Lucy. Like, the second you start praising it and saying it's like one of the best movies of the year,
it's automatically
it kind of just defeats it because it's such a slice of life little story. And I was definitely into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily enjoyed it more than because my expectations. I don't think my expectations were too high. I mean, I think I just had heard so many great things about it and I think going into it, I was like, I don't think that I'm going to absolutely love it like that. But I did enjoy it quite a bit, and I think, I think if anything, the performances in the film are worth seeing it alone.
It's kind of like Greenberg light in a lot of ways. It doesn't quite go as. It doesn't quite go as far, and so I don't think it's as good. I think that's the thing about Greenberg, is that there's characters in Greenberg who are straight unlikable. Right. And I think, like Mark Ruffalo's character, I feel like Mark Ruffalo was almost too nice.
But I think that his performance, because I don't necessarily think his character is nice, because I mean
his performance is too nice. I think it comes across, because I didn't necessarily buy.
But I think it's a good. I think one of the things that I like so much about his performance is that it's identifiable with. Like, this guy is not. I mean, they show in the trailer he's like giving the girl a ride home on his motorcycle. Like, he's not a father. Like, he's not like the best father ever. But I think his performance and some of the subtle stuff that he does at the end really makes you feel for his character. Yeah. And the decisions that he may have made in the past or things currently that are going on. And there's
I was surprised how the arc with his character finished up, because there's no easy answers in that. Yeah. And it kind of leaves it like open-ended. There might be a sequel, so who knows.
Kids are all right too.
The kids are definitely all right. Are really all right.
The kids are thoroughly cool and all right. Yeah. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Yeah. Take your mom to see it. You'll have a great time.
Yeah. Just make sure she doesn't laugh too much like the people behind us. Well, we're gonna. Is that my segue? That's my segue into our pet peeves.
We might as well.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Guys, we're finally gonna do this. Our top 5 list for today is our top 5 movie theater pet peeves. You have more than I do. You have some honorable mentions.
I wrote 7 down.
Let me hear some of your honorable mentions, Home.
I think, well, one of them I wrote down, which is an honorable mention, and something that actually happened to us during The Kids Are All Right, is people who see mature type of movies, I would say, and but they're immature about it. I think. Yes. There's a scene in The Kids Are All Right towards the beginning, when the scene I mentioned where they're watching gay porn, and there's a cut-to shot of Annette Bening sitting in her bed, and you basically see Julianne Moore's like head underneath blankets, so you just see like a. I
mean, it's like a 2.5 Men PG-13 sex scene. Like, it's like a head bob.
And literally these 3 45-year-old women behind us were like, ew.
Like, I was like, what year is this?
And A, do you know what movie you just paid to watch? Like,
how old are you?
Like, this movie is about a lesbian married couple. Like, what were you expecting to see? Like, I don't. So that's one honorable mention. Just immature people in the theater who can't handle whatever's going on. I believe I had that actually when I saw Greenberg for the first time.